Right. Hi, today I'm trying to try a new idea that we come up with on the Eddie Hall community, which is part of the Skool app that we use. This is Gunnar, who's
Hello.
who's coming on the show to talk about what inspired him to get into weights, because different reasons get people to why they want to do weights.
Yep, that's for sure. Um, just to let y'all know, so I do live in America. That's why I sound a little different. But no, so I was on the Skull app when it first came out with Eddie Hall about 3 hours after he posted the link on YouTube. And it looks interesting enough for me to go and take a click on. And then that's how I met my new friend here. And well, that's how I got here today. But yeah, we can. You want me to start, or you can start? We can do from like growing up
Can
to.
you put the camera up a bit because I can't hear you too well?
Can you hear? Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's better. Yeah. So, what inspired you, Gunnar?
Well, so growing up, I was always a fat kid in school, and like I would get made fun of because I was really big. So once I got to my high school years, they had weightlifting as an elective class for the students to take. They had an actual gym, a weight training coach, and so I started out doing that. My let's see, junior, freshman, sophomore year of high school, which is your second year of high school. And I fell in love with it and I started doing it. And then I went the next year and the following year. So I ended up doing it 3 years in high school, absolutely enjoying weight training. And I sort of had a natural ability that the other students didn't have to put on muscle. I was genetically gifted, if you will. And I didn't know it, growing up that, why am I always fat? Well, it's basically because, you have the genetics to be either big and fat or big and strong. So I did really good in weight training. I was able to like set a couple of school records when I was first into my class. I was benching 290 pounds for 2 reps when I was about 14 or 15. And that's pretty good for the size of the school I was at. And then afterwards, I went on to graduate high school and I wanted to join the military. So I joined the military and, they have their physical fitness test, the PE test. And I was strong, but I wasn't fast. Like I wasn't a good runner. One of the challenges is you have to run 2 miles in 15 minutes, which I think is about 2 3/4 kilometers, I want to say. I'm not sure what the conversion is. And I always struggled with that. So I was naturally just a short, stocky guy. But, with enough willpower, you can make anything happen. So I did that and got home from training. And then I didn't do full time military. I did a lot of reserve National Guard work. So I would go and do military stuff 2 times a month or 1 time a month, depending on our schedule. Then I'd go and work my regular job. My regular job, I worked at a factory with a bunch of guys just building air conditioners or wiring panel boxes. And this is when I started to get back into my old habits because the guys at the factory, all they would do is just bring junk food, not want to go to the gym. They just work their shift and go home and then life continued. And so what I noticed to happen is I started to get really fat again. And I just slowly kept getting more fat and fatter. And so I went from 190 to 200 to 215 to 230. And then I was about 246 pounds. And then I would go and do my military training. And I would get yelled at. I would be on their naughty list for being overweight. And they're like, "What's wrong with you, guy? You were so motivated when you got here. Why'd you let yourself go?" And in my mind, I don't know if it was selfish thinking or if it's just what everyone would think, which is, like, these guys, meaning the military, I'm only here like 2 or 3 days a month, and it doesn't exactly pay my bills. My regular job pays my bills, so I didn't have the time or the like motive to go to the gym and work out. And like it would show when I'd show up for the military training, and then like my sergeants and my NCOs and my leadership would start yelling at me and like making me do a bunch of extra stuff and be treated different because I was one of their fat people on their list. So this went on for probably about 3 years, and it was time to take another fitness assessment for the military. And they're like, okay, look, you failed and failed and failed. This is your last chance. You fail this one and you're out. But the way it works here in our where they had me was they were, if I failed it again, they were going to remove my rank. And at the time I was an E4 or a specialist, which is one below sergeant or NCO. And hold on one sec. I need to put this on pause. Okay. All right. Can you still see me? All right, cool. All right. And so I failed that test. And at the time at my job that I worked every day, I was really tired of that job. The people were very rude, and I was just starting to get burnt out from working at a factory. So I was looking around trying to find something different because I knew what I was doing really wasn't working for me at the time. And also, this is me in my early 20s. I was probably 20 or 21 years of age. I'm 28 right now. And so I was pretty down in the dumps. And I failed my fitness exam for the military. They took me into the captain's office. They looked at me in the eye. They removed the rank off my chest. They threw it on the ground, and they said, if you feel like you're ready to become a soldier again, put your work effort in, and next month we'll see what happens. And so the same day, well, the following Monday, I went to work, and I was trying to train some new employees that just had the worst attitudes. They didn't want me to train them. They would talk back to me. And then my boss was like, hey, why aren't the new employees making progress? I'm like, they don't want me to teach them. He goes, well, you do it again, you're going to get a write-up. And I'm like, okay. And that was the day I quit that job. And so I'm probably about 245, 250 pounds almost, maybe 38% body fat, just kind of miserable. So I pick up another factory job, one that has a lot better schedule. And this is like that same week, I pick up another job working at a different factory across the street. And I meet this one guy he's kind of fat, but you can tell he's definitely muscular, sort of a similar build to me, just a little bit taller. And he goes, listen, bro, what you need to do is you get yourself back in shape. And he started giving me some like advice on diet and plans and motivation. He goes, I tell you what, on our lunch breaks, they're 30 minutes long. Let's just go for a walk. We'll just go for walks on a lunch break. So number one, you're not eating food. Number two, you're getting some exercise, right? I'm like, okay, sounds fun. And so I start going for these walks at work on my lunch break. And I'm like, I'm going to start jogging. So after about a week, I'd say, I'm going to try to jog my whole 30 minutes on my lunch break. And then I did it. And then I started to lose some weight. So now I lost probably about 10, 15 pounds almost. So it was starting to come off. With the nutritional help and then the exercise at work and my buddy motivating me. I mean, I lost a good 10, 15 pounds that first 2 weeks. And then after the course of, I would say 1 month, I lost about 30 to 40 pounds, almost a pound per day. It was ridiculous. And it was time to go back for my military training, right? Now, keep in mind, the month before, they took my rank off and said, what a disgrace you are for, not being motivated and stuff. So I show up in my uniform, which at the time was a 2XL. and they look at me, and it's very, very obvious I have made a change in my life. I could take my 2XL uniform, fold it in half almost, and the guys in the military, they just couldn't believe it. They're like, "Holy crap, that was we didn't expect you to actually do something about it, but we're proud of you." And so what they did is they said, "All right, we'll make you a deal. We'll give you 3 months. We'll test you again, and if you pass, we'll give you not only a promotion to sergeant, we'll send you to any military unit of your choice," which is something that almost never happens because a lot of times guys go in and they're kind of stuck in the same place. And I wanted to go be around helicopters and do something cool. So I go back the next, 2 weeks to my regular job. Now at this point, I'm running about 1.5 to 2 miles on my lunch break every day while working in a factory milling on metal and machinery, like a milling machine. I don't know if you got familiar with that. And so I dropped down to about 195 pounds ish, and then I took it further and dropped down to about 185, 84 pounds. And at this point, I'm running about 2.25 miles per day on my lunch breaks and then just getting back to work. So 3 months go by. I show up to the military and they're like, "Okay, you ready to take your physical PT test?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." I get in and I smoke it. I freaking blow the doors off of it. I get a 275 score out of 300, which is very, very good. And the guys there are just absolutely blown away. They're impressed. They're proud. They couldn't believe it. They placed bets on me to see if I'd pass or not, and I did really, really good. And so they said, "All right, you've done it. You've did it." So they gave me my rank back. They sent me off to sergeant school. I became an E5. I became a military non-commissioned NCO, or non-commissioned officer, and I loved it. But the story doesn't end there. That's just, say, the halfway point. So life's going good. I got about a year and a half left of military service, and I get a new job, like a high-paying job working at a sort of like a government warehouse. And this job had great pay and great benefits, but they didn't have no exercise routine or like the ability to go to the gym or even to go for like long walks on your lunch break because it was like a secured place and it was a 12-hour work shift. And we'd work days, we would work nights, we sometimes work for 2 weeks straight. It was a lot of work, but it paid good. And so I'm working there, and I got about a year into it, and I started to put weight on again. And at the time, I was on the last year in the military, and I knew that if this continued, the cycle would restart, and I'd be really fat, and I would have to find a way to lose weight to make the military happen. And then I went and took my son to a local trampoline park. Burn off some energy. He was probably 4 years old at the time, or 3 years old at the time. And I'm out there on the trampoline, and I have a bad landing, let's just say. So my knee, normally bends straight like that, right?
Yeah.
Just straight up. Well, my knee bent over backwards, so folding itself, hitting myself in the face. So my kneecap bent the opposite direction and broke, and my foot hit me in the head, completely shattering my knee, all the muscle connecting tissue, and everything important, shall we say. And that was miserable.
I imagine it was because it gets psychological as well, doesn't it? Because you don't think you're ever going to get better. It comes a vicious circle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes. And so I'm like, well, I was starting to get fat to begin with. and now I can't walk, and I'm on my last year of duty for the military, and I have a crazy full-time job. What do I do? So, I mean, I went down the mental spiral pretty quickly. And at my work, they did accommodate me for my injury. They gave me medical leave of absence, and they paid me to do it. So it was half of my pay for how many months I need for recovery and surgery. Because I mean, I couldn't walk. I was one-legged and using a crutch or a wheelchair. That was it. And so I did therapy and I went to like some rehab to try to get my muscle ready for surgery. I was told by the doctor it was only supposed to take 3 hours, maybe 4 hours to do the operation. I get there, they start the surgery, and I'm out. I'm unconscious. I don't know what's going on. I wake up 12 hours later, and this was only supposed to be a 2-3 hour surgery, and it ended up being a 12-hour surgery because the amount of damage that they had to take care of that didn't show up on their x-rays and their MRI machine.
Very painful, long operation.
Oh gosh, it felt like a samurai took their sword and like tore apart my leg and tortured it and tortured it, and I was in extreme pain for quite a long time afterwards for the next 2 weeks. And at the time, luckily, my wife is a registered nurse, like an actual nurse. So kind of funny. We had a bunch of medical equipment at our house from her job, and she was able to take care of me for a while. So I couldn't walk for 8 months. So imagine that, you go from being really fat to doing the impossible, losing almost 100 pounds, ended up being about 80 pounds in 3 months, becoming a superstar in the military, getting what many people would call their dream physique. I had just about a 6 pack of abs, and I was feeling good. To now, I can't walk, and I can't exercise, and I'm depressed, and now I'm just eating food because it's like my only luxury that I could do at the time. Talk about a mental drainer.
But this
And
is where I think when people talk about why they do weights or different, because I think gives you a goal. It gives you
right,
something to focus on, even if you start small, even if it's like a five
you can
pound weight
open
to get
up.
stronger again. And like you think, so what? It doesn't matter. I'm doing something. And I think that's
Yes,
what people, like you say, they don't realize. You just don't go ahead and like lift 200 pounds, whatever. That takes time, doesn't it?
yeah. Oh, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And you might have one leg, but you can still do a lot. So I went and got me like an at-home dumbbell set, and I just started doing dumbbells. Just lifting what I could to try to keep my upper body. Even though my lower body was out of shape, I at least had a built chest. I wanted to stay on top of something. So I finished up all the therapy. I had the surgery, and several months later, I'm finally able to walk again. I'm not running at this point, but I can walk. And so we end up moving from the state of Colorado to the state Oklahoma because I only had about a 4-year contract at the last job I had. Here, I'm starting to go to the car to get my son from school, but we'll keep going on this because my son his school is only about a mile down the road. So we'll just continue it from my car. This is a day in the life of me, working night shifts, and then I get my son in the school during the day.
Unfortunately, that's life. It's
Yeah.
not like the YouTube life where people can
No,
just turn up in the gym and do it like that. That they got that way because they started off like you.
they
They
started off
started off
like
doing this. They didn't like Eddie Hall. He started off as a HVGV mechanic, I think, and he
yeah,
started off. He wasn't a pro strongman for a long time.
yeah, and everybody's got their life, and I was trying to get my camera angle set right. I got a little holder here. All right, that good?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep. So we moved to Oklahoma, and I know that the United States is actually quite a very large country. So to put in perspective, we moved roughly, I'd say 780 kilometers away from our from Colorado. And it's different people. It's almost like going to a different country because the people are so different from the distance and culture. So I'm out here. I'm 280 pounds, the heaviest I've ever been, and probably 45% body fat, actually. Now, I was having problems sleeping at night because I had to wear a breathing machine, a CPAP machine. I started to get chronic anxiety from the mental load that I went through. And I was getting depressed to the point where I couldn't even work a normal job because I couldn't believe in my mind that, how did I go from such a superstar to nothing to a superstar back to nothing? That's quite a lot of psychological load being dropped on you. And at the same time, I had my second child, which is my daughter. She's one and a half right now. And, it's quite an adjustment going from, being single and not having responsibility to having a family.
Yeah, but
And
as you say, as long as you can fit something in, like you can do
yeah,
like one session or two sessions a week. It's
right.
not perfect but you can, unless you're a professional, getting three or four weight sessions in
Yeah.
a week is
I,
too much, a lot to do.
yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, for a lot of people out there who are kind of in that situation and in that spot, what I did was just moving some weights around at home. Like I said, my arms and my upper body, my chest have always been fit, even though that I was fat. My arms were strong, my chest was strong, because I at least tried to do something. And I also would try to go to the gym at least once a week, even though it was difficult, because you can get like a fit watch and it'll track your steps throughout the day, and that will add up over time. It's I've learned that it's little things that you change in your daily routine that make a bigger difference in the end. So focusing more on your diet when you're not able to hit the gym as much. You don't have to go on a cardio machine for 3 hours a day to lose weight. You just have to go and walk for 30 minutes, either with your kids or your dog or whatever you're capable of.
Plus, walking's free. You don't have to pay
Exactly,
the gym. You don't have to pay the gym fees.
for the most part.
Plus, where you are, you probably got nicer walks than what we got.
And so I went to my doctor, and this is where I did. I started to finally get hope again, and they said, you could actually qualify for a gastric bypass surgery. Where if you don't know, they either put a sleeve in, so they put a sleeve in your stomach, and it shrinks your stomach down to about the size of a banana, or they go Roux-en-Y bypass, which is where basically they remove your stomach from your digestive tract, but they leave it in place to produce acid to break down food, and they create a stomach pouch about the size of an apple, basically. So it makes you lose weight rather quickly and keep it off. And at the time, my insurance was able to qualify for it, and I qualified for the surgical operation. And the doctor there told me, he goes, this is not a cure to people being fat. This is just a tool that will help you lose weight. Think of it as buying a gym membership. You still have
Yeah,
to do
if you keep the diet up, it'll keep you maintained. In other words, yeah.
right, right. It's not It's definitely not a cure. If you're looking to be like, okay, I'm going to get this surgery and I'm going to have a six pack. No, 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 no. Don't work that way. You have to consistently maintain your calories in your diet and your progress, track your performance, or else the weight will come back. You will first initially drop a lot of weight at first. Like you will drop a good 40 pounds or 60 pounds off the top. That's normal. But if you don't want the weight to come back, you actually have to work at it. It'll, like I said, it's like you join in a gym membership. It only works if you're consistent. So I got the surgery this month, actually, a year ago. And on the Skool app, I'm going to, at the end of the month, do a 1 year transformation, like slideshow update
I
video.
think it's a good idea because then people can see if people have gone through the same thing, how
Right.
it, you, if you put the work in, it will work, like you
Yes.
said. It's just, it's all most anything you
All in
do
your head. It
it
really
is
is.
here. People don't believe me when I say that. I say the biggest part of going in the gym is this: your mind. If you're not in the
Absolutely.
right mindset, you can't do it. If you don't want to lose weight, you won't do it. Simple as that. It's all in your head. You've got to be in the right space. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. So I have a lot of friends from all over the world, and I've talked to a couple of friends that were drug addicts, went to rehab, and then I've talked to people who they went to rehab and they're still on drugs. They haven't gotten over it. And the difference between the person who succeeds and the person who doesn't is they make an active choice in their mind to say, okay, I'm not going to do drugs anymore. Even though I'm being pulled and addicted to it, they make that active choice. And the same thing goes with weight loss or getting into shape. I chose to get the surgery. I chose to stay with the program and I chose to change and say, I'm not satisfied. I'm going to consistently work at it every day. It's all in your head. And I know it's over said and over exemplified a lot, but your mind is stronger than you think. And what a lot of people do is they go to the gym, they get their membership, they make their New Year's resolution, and after 1 month, they quit. And they quit because they think in their mind that, okay, I'm going to look like Chris Bumstead or Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's just only been 1 month of going to the gym.
Take at
It's,
least 3 to 4 months to look probably
oh,
proper muscle. Yeah,
yeah, to look proper, I would say it at least takes 6 months to a year. You know,
yeah.
that's,
And people
that's
don't realize it's a lot of routine. It's a lot of
really,
6 reps, 4 reps, and it can get mundane. But once you've got the muscle memory, or
yes.
I do visualization where
Yeah.
I like
I say,
practice the movements and visualize I'm doing the weight as well. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of creating new habits instead of, oh, it's a challenge I have to do. Well, I mean, it's still a challenge, but it's not like you should be doing exercise as if it's just a daily routine, meaning it's a habit. It's like you go and you make let's say you eat soup on Wednesday and you've just always eaten soup on Wednesday for the last, I don't know, 10 years of your life. You don't really think about it, you just do it. And it's like that's what I do with going to the gym and exercising and staying fit, etc. Is it's now just a habit. I don't really think about it much when I go to the gym. It's just, oh, I've done this every day for the last, I don't know, 6 months. You don't really think about it.
I think
And
you've
then the
done
next,
well. I think considering
yeah,
what you've gone through, I think you've got the right mental attitude. I lost my wife last year,
oh, that's
and I did give up the gym for a little while, but then I went back to it because it strangely it helps me focus. I know
right.
that sounds odd, but it gives me something to set my
Perfect.
mind to a purpose. And also I know that by doing that, if I have a day where I feel really angry or really upset about something, it's a good way of blowing off steam without doing
Oh,
anything to nobody else.
yeah, like my mental health. So when I was in the military, I didn't get PTSD from getting blown up, as a lot of soldiers think. I got PTSD from just telling myself I'm not worthy.
Yeah, I can
And
understand that. I can understand that. Yeah. It's very
and
common. It's a very common thing as you when you're younger, not being horrible.
no, it's true.
Because now, as the world of social media, as you
Yeah,
mentioned, there's so much pressure to look the perfect body for men and women. You've got to be this, or you've got to be this.
yeah,
And that's not a real world. It doesn't unless you want to pay thousands of pounds or you get big sponsorship that you can do all
right.
these things. It's never going to happen.
Usually you have to do it the hard way first to even get the attention of a sponsor.
Well, yeah,
A lot
that
of,
exactly. It doesn't. I mean, look at Eddie Hall took ages to get famous before.
yeah,
If I mean when he did that £1,000 plus lift, the first time he did
yeah,
it,
1 ton
uh,
lift.
yeah, and then he won the title, though Thor never really accepted it at the time, which is a bit
Yeah,
gameship, right? But he knew that he was had one title in him. He knew he had to win it, and he knew that one was enough. Because he knew his body wouldn't keep taking it as much as it. The modern athlete now, like the Mitchell Hoopers of the world, they train with their mind, their body, and science. They use a lot of science. A lot of the referee says I can do it 2 minutes. If I
yeah.
go, if I got that weight up here by the time they've blown the whistle, technically I could still do the lift because I've got it in my hand. I can, so he pushes the time limit, but he's not breaking the rules. He's just doing what he's using his brain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's mind over matter. And so, for example, so I'll tell you where I'm at right now, as far as my physical condition. So I've dropped down to I'm 168 pounds. I don't know what the kilo conversion is,
I wouldn't know either.
but let's say
Say over 10 stone.
yeah. So basically, the I'm just guesstimating here. So going from say 130 kilos down to about 65 kilos. So I mean, I'm not sure. I really don't know the conversions.
No, that's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but from a body fat percentage, I went from 48% body fat down to about 14.
That's good. Don't knock that. That's better than most people got now. I wish I was 14% body fat, but I'm nowhere near that.
Yeah, yeah, and I went from let's say a size 44 or 46 waistline down to a 32. It,
I'm impressed. I really am. I mean, as I say, even with the surgery, you still had to have the
oh,
mindset to keep saying, "Oh, I won't
yep,
eat this meal. I won't eat my burgers and chips
yeah,
like every night. I have to have this that night. I have to. You can still have a treat. You can still have a treat. You're not going to
oh
strictly
yeah, no, like,
diet 100% of the time.
yeah, like every now and then I'll get an ice cream cone or something, something I like. But like I don't just sit there and gorge on it. I will make sure I hit the right amount of protein per day, and I won't break my limit, like my fat or calorie intake for the day. There's a lot of discipline, and now I'm working with an online personal trainer that I actually met on the Skool app, believe it or not. And he got me a 6 day workout routine and some more nutritional information. And I bring that up because you need to find yourself a mentor or a coach. If you want to become like the elite or become something great, you need to find somebody that is on a level higher than you currently are to
So they
bring
give
you
you the
up.
motivation. Yeah, they
And
give you the yeah. They say, well, instead of doing this many
yeah,
reps a week, try 10 reps a week. 10, go a bit lower, go 10. Instead of going high, go lower so you can
yeah,
push out the reps a bit more. And then people
exactly
say, well, you should go lower. But I said, no. I said, I do sets of 5. I don't need to do
right.
sets of. What's the point? I'm going to do it's
Yep.
stupid, Yeah. 5, and it's easy to remember. Yeah, and then I know my body can take it. Even when a bad day, I think, oh, if I start off this way. I mean, I use machines a lot more than I use free weights, but obviously the machines
Yeah,
as well. But the chest one, I can do the chest on a machine. But if I do it on a thing, it affects my neck too much. So
yeah.
that's why I don't do it that way.
Oh, that's
I'm
fine. I
glad
mean,
we've had this talk, Gunnar. I think people will enjoy this. I will definitely put it on the Skool app, and I definitely hope people listen to it and watch it. Hopefully, and we mentioned the fact that we are both on the Skool app, which is available on the phone. It's the Eddie Hall community. I think he's still taking people on. I'm not too sure. I think he put a message on the other day that other people were joining. I think. I think it's
I'm
still free at the moment, but I wouldn't like to say it's going to stay that way.
trying to. So he actually, I'll put this out there because he does message me just a little bit every now and then because I'm on the leadership board. And he said that he wants people to use the accountability section a lot more for the especially his 90-day challenge because he wants the community to sort of build off of each other.
Yeah, that's
And
why I
that's
put that as well. This is
yeah,
why I put this one accountability because this is both of us being accountability because I've got various problems myself. I train. I'm not. I I I do cheat kills occasionally, which I allow myself to do because at my age, plus 60, I think, all right, I don't have to necessarily have to be too strict,
right,
all the time. Yeah,
yeah. Don't want to
'cause
hurt yourself. You
my body's not going to take it.
yeah,
I do stay within my limits. I train once in the gym a week, once at home a week. Because A, it's money. So,
true.
yeah, and you live on a basic money. But I'll leave you to do your son because obviously I don't want him on the video because otherwise YouTube will get a bit
That's all right.
funny about think about
Yeah,
that.
but yeah,
I,
I mean, if I had one thing to tell everybody, it's like I've been down the road where I thought I was on the right track, and then I got hit with life. But I'm back on that same road, and I'm even better than I was before because I had that experience.
well, thank you, Ken. I think there's very nice words. I thank you for your time of day. Say hi to your son for me and your wife for me, and have a good day, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you. This is quite fun. See if you can get more people that are in the
I'll try
community.
to. I think it's a good idea. We try. If people like this, it may be other people. We never know.
Yeah. All right. See y'all.